After watching Brand New Day, I wanted to go back to where this version of Spider-Man really started. And honestly, Homecoming feels way more refreshing than people give it credit for, especially now after some of the things it set up actually matter again. It's a smaller scale Spider-Man story, obviously. We see how Tony Stark has a huge role in Peter Parker's life at this point in time. He has the Stark suit, which honestly I think gets a lot of hate for no reason. I personally still like that suit. People didn't like it. I understand it has a lot of unnecessary lines, but at the same time, it is also Tom Holland's original suit. There's a sense of nostalgia that allows me to like it. It's a high school setting, and it's actually the most realistic high school setting we've gotten in all three Spider-Man. It's kids that actually look like kids. There's kid problems like going to parties, them trying to fit in, Ned being a nerdy loser, Peter Parker's friend not just being this billionaire. And I think it's a very good new refreshing take on Peter Parker's life as a teenager, because realistically Tom Holland is the only teenager that we've actually gotten in Spider-Man media that has actually been a real life teenager. Obviously not in real life. It's refreshing compared to big MCU movies. Obviously, we have some elements of Tony Stark being in it. Peter has help from Tony Stark. He is reliant on him and the suit. He's not the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man where he was fending for himself. He's not the Andrew Garfield where he was also fending for himself, with slight help, but nowhere near as much as Tom Holland's. But I think that's the actual point of that story, is he's supposed to have help, because we know what happens and enrolls after Far From Home, No Way Home, and then Spider-Man Brand New Day. It's a strong first chapter because we see the struggles of an actual kid and what it would be like to essentially, in the real world, if a teenager were to get powers, he would probably act exactly like this version of Spider-Man. It's a simple story that doesn't try too much. There's not a million different characters trying to be implemented like Spider-Man 3 or like TASM 2. It's the Vulture and slight little characters that are being hinted at, and that's it. He fights some goons. He puts a ship back together. He's a young and inexperienced kid. He's a little bit dumb. He's a little bit naive, or very naive. He's constantly trying to prove himself to Tony Stark. Obviously, this stems from a place of not having a father figure and only having Aunt May, and then we don't really know much about Uncle Ben or whether or not he was even a part of his life. So he is acting exactly the way a kid his age is supposed to act when put in a position of some sort of power or importance. He's learning little by little, in a very different manner to Andrew and Tobey's Spider-Man, how to be Spider-Man. He's taking baby steps compared to them, because Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was already fighting the Green Goblin by himself, packing his ass up in the first movie. In comparison to Brand New Day, we have a complete night and day Spider-Man, and that's what makes this 4-movie series so perfect, and it makes a lot more sense now. I'm not saying Far From Home and Homecoming are the greatest Spider-Man films ever, but I think that they are great pieces to the puzzle that finally feel fulfilled, in my opinion, and only after Brand New Day they did. I did like Homecoming prior to, but I think Brand New Day made me go back, rewatch Homecoming, and then finally understand what pieces were missing and how it's finally completed. Tom Holland's performance, he plays the perfect naive teenager. There's not really much to be said about it. I think his performance kind of just speaks for himself. He was born to play Spider-Man, in my opinion. I'm not even saying Andrew and Tobey aren't as well. I think they're all just as much Spider-Man, but I think they're all different versions of Spider-Man, the same way we get different versions of Spider-Man in different comics. For people to say he's comically inaccurate is simply incorrect, because if you date back to the 2000s run of Ultimate Spider-Man, you actually understand that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is the closest to that Spider-Man. Michael Keaton as Vulture was a great casting. He was a good villain. He wasn't a great, amazing, outstanding villain, but his motives made sense. The connection to Stark and the Avengers and the alien technology. He has a grounded motivation. It comes from a place of wanting to take care of his family. He gets fired, he loses his contract, and he's just trying to provide for his family, but he doesn't use the greatest methods. He does become harsh. He becomes a real life villain. Is it justified to an extent? Yes, but to the extent of where he goes, where he's trying to literally murder a child. His connection to Peter, obviously Peter has a giant crush on his daughter. Peter does not know that that's his daughter. Lo and behold, later on in the movie, a lot of things happen and he finds out in the worst way possible and basically himself. That car scene where he's talking to Vulture, speaking to him from the back of the car, and Vulture's looking at him through the rearview mirror, is a great iteration and interpretation of what it looks like when Spider-Man is stunned and scared. I'm gonna say this, just because he's a kid doesn't mean he's gonna duck a fade. Tom Holland's Spider-Man does not duck fades whatsoever, and Spidey in general has been known to never duck fades, but Tom Holland specifically does not even think about it. Mac Gargan is shown in Homecoming very briefly, but in the post-credit scene, he has a specific scene with Vulture. And this scene is very important because we know the pull that Vulture obviously has, or the knowledge he has on alien technology and or creating suits and essentially engineering things. My theory is, because I've seen people on the internet complaining about how we don't know where Scorpion got his suit from, there is a possibility that Michael Keaton's Vulture has something to do with Scorpion having that suit and or motivating Scorpion into essentially Spider-Man, because we all know that Vulture is always going to have a grudge against Spider-Man no matter what, like every villain ever in the Spider-Man story. It felt abandoned for years for Matt Gargan to be in it. Now, in Brand New Day, obviously, we understand the connection there. And even though it was a long time in the future, it's still a great connection that completes this 4-movie series. The Iron Man influence did kind of suck because, personally, I love a Spider-Man story where Spider-Man's fending for himself, where he's depressed, where he's just actually going through it, just like Brand New Day. Homecoming did lack that, and obviously when you watch Homecoming as a starting Spider-Man movie, you will have no choice but to compare it to TASM 1 or to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1. With that comparison, at least at the time, I understand the criticism the movie got, but I also am able to appreciate it for being such a refreshing Spider-Man story, and I think that's what sets it apart from the other 2 origin stories. Number 1, we don't care to see that he got bit by a radioactive spider. It doesn't matter because we all know that's his origin story regardless. We don't care to see Uncle Ben dying. We all know Uncle Ben is dead anyway, and it's going to happen. They twisted it and they made Aunt May the center of that. This was the perfect move from the Russo brothers, and there's certain movies that are overlooked and then years later they start making sense, and this is one of them. In terms of humor, the humor was actually really good. I don't know if I'm alone on this, but I actually love Ned. I know there's a lot of people that dislike him. Most of us had a nerdy ass friend or a fat friend. There's nothing wrong with making Peter Parker's friend just as nerdy as him and a loser just like him. It's a different universe, and if there's different universes, there's literally infinite realities. The action was very good. I think the pacing was good. Scene where he's at the Washington Monument and he backflips onto the helicopter, saves them from falling off the elevator. Beautiful. There's no complaints there. Even the last scene with Vulture and the plane, great. Obviously, we don't see that Spider-Man swinging through the city, going on buildings, hanging off buildings. They kind of steered away from that, but by steering away from that, they were able to maneuver it back in Brand New Day. It just makes it such a complete run because you get basically everything. He's in Europe in Far From Home. He's in DC in Homecoming. Things we've never seen Spider-Man do. We saw him in Germany in Civil War. It feels a lot better now because we see Peter Parker's true innocence. We see how he's actually a child, and we see the contrast between him from there all the way up until Brand New Day, and it's basically 2 different Peter Parkers, and the Brand New Day Peter Parker is a literal product of trauma, of severe trauma, and it honestly makes me a little sad thinking about how naive and happy and jolly Peter Parker once was and what that led to because of his superhero life. But also it makes me and allows me to appreciate the character much more because we have this giant character development throughout 4 movies that we absolutely love, and we're getting another 2 movies. So I believe that this is why Tom Holland's Spider-Man is truly going down as the best Spider-Man ever, because it is probably the most complete Spider-Man story we've ever gotten in any form of media. The movie's overlooked, and there's still a lot of people that talk shit on not only Homecoming but also Far From Home, which I might make a Far From Home review as well. There's a lot to be appreciated, and I'm gonna rate this movie a solid 7 out of 10. It's up there with TASM 1 for me. TASM 1 is also a 7 to 7.5 out of 10 for me. Okay, it has rewatch value, it has nostalgia value, and it is just a good starter Spider-Man story. It's slow paced, it's just right. I truly believe that if you just watch Brand New Day, give it another rewatch. Is Homecoming underrated or overlooked? I think it's a little bit of both. It deserves more respect. I would rank it at 3rd in the Tom Holland movies. I'd say Brand New Day is number 1, No Way Home is at number 2, and then Homecoming would be at number 3 for me. In hindsight, Brand New Day absolutely did boost this film for me. It made me love it more. If you guys liked my video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I do media reviews, movie reviews, TV show reviews, comic reviews, all of the above. It's been your boy Source. I love y'all. Bye bye. God bless.